We're proud to announce
Chance Forever. Help Rotary make history at endpolionow.org.
Welcome, everyone, to the Rotary Club of Tulsa. We're glad you're here. You'll be glad you came, I guarantee it. To start our meeting, Matthew Bristow will provide the invocation and lead us in the pledge, and then Kathy Gurrell will make our visitor introductions. We will not be singing again this week because we have special music, but again, don't worry, we'll be singing shortly. And now our invocation will be given by Matthew Bristow.
I hear that cell phone. If I was still Sarge.
It's an optical.
Yeah.
I believe it's Sarge's phone.
All right. Please bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we offer thanks to you for bringing us together in Rotary, for fellowship, encouragement, and accountability, working together to serve the needs of our community. We thank you for the meal we have enjoyed and for the service of those who have prepared it, and please keep us mindful of those who are hungry today and in need of the basic amenities that we take for granted. We also ask for encouragement for our speaker, Phil Montgomery, and his counterparts in colleges around the country. We ask that you give him strength in his role to educate and encourage our student athletes to not only develop their skills as athletes, but more importantly, to become great citizens and role models in our schools and communities. We also pray for those in our country and around the world who are persecuted, who are suffering and in need. Open our hearts and minds to opportunities to help others, and guide us to use our many blessings that we have been gifted to help those who are less fortunate than us in this room. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
I want to welcome you to the Rotary Club of Tulsa, and I want to introduce some very special guests today, and please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Bill Dorman is the guest of Ron Butler. Chuck Major is the guest of David Downing. Mark Nellis is hosted by Michael Turner. Frank Mulhern is the guest of Beverly Marquardt. John Remington is hosted by Michael Willis. Lee Carlson is the spouse of Jane Carlson. David Woolsey is the brother of Don Woolsey. Caitlin Gilbert and Eric Gilbert are friends of John O'Connor, but hosted by Tim Caldwell. Kent Powers is a friend of Joe Moore's. Matney Ellis is hosted by Michael Willis. Kevin Murphy is hosted by Judy Sweeten. Pete Hackenbrack is hosted by Judy Sweeten. Rusty Mills is hosted by Dana Burks. Brian Talkington is a potential new member back there. Mindy Strain is hosted by Rhonda Daniel, and London Herrera is hosted by Alicia Herrera. Gail Sullenberger is hosted by Linda Adlott. Nathaniel Porter is hosted by Trudy Sweeten. Brooke Wright has been brought by Glenn Wright, the grandson. Patrick Brown is the son of Richard Holmes. Earl Huey is the brother-in-law of Bob McKenzie. And Blake Athamadam is the son of Brad Athamadam. Let's give these people a round of applause. We have two visiting Rotarians from the Broken Arrow Club, is Kirk Shell. Hi, Kurt. And from Southside, Ben Garrell. Thank you all for coming, and please join us again.
All right, as is our new custom, we'll be talking a little bit now about some of our upcoming programs. So get out your phones and your notepads. The notepads are on the table if you don't like to use your phone. We won't laugh at you if you don't keep your calendar on your phone. So take your notepad out and let's look at some of the upcoming programs. Next week, as we mentioned last week, Amika Naka will be here. He's a former ORU student who suffered a severe spinal cord injury in a semi-pro football game. And now he, among other things, gives great speeches of inspiration all around, and he should be a good program. The week after that, we have Mike Brennan, who owns part of a company that's one of the largest pearl producers in the world. And we will learn a lot about how those silly oysters work and where do they actually live and where do these pearls actually come from. He's a very fascinating, very worldly person. It should be fun to listen to him. Long term, for your planning purposes and for getting your guests and family together to come to Rotary, on August 26th, we will have Senator Jim Inhofe. There will be no shortage of things to talk about with him, I'm sure. On September the 2nd, Cheryl Siddiqui will be here. She's the spokesperson for the Islamic Council of Oklahoma and the former Director of Community Relations and Outreach for the Islamic Society of Tulsa. A very timely speech from her, I'm sure, and you might remember that in 2003, she gave the invocation at the IBA Awards, so a very neat lady, and she has lots of friends here in the club. And finally, one more program note. On September the 16th, we will have Councilor G.T. Bynum here to talk about water in the river. There's been plenty in the paper, but I know there's a lot not in the paper, and I'm sure he'll share at least some of that with us. So mark your calendars for those great programs, and be sure to bring family and guests, and of course, tell everyone about Rotary. Now, today, we are pleased and honored to have some more special music. The year is off to a great start. Today, we're privileged to have an opportunity to hear Susanna Brooks, who's going to be accompanied by Dick Taylor. Susanna teaches voice at the Bart Conservatory Music School and is an instructor for the Tulsa Opera Voice Institute. She's a featured soloist for the TCC Signature Symphony and First United Methodist Church. She loves painting and spending time with her two sons, ages 6 and 7. I bet that's a lot of work, yeah, especially in the summertime. She went to the University of Oklahoma, graduating with a bachelor's degree in music, vocal performance, and studied at New England Conservatory with the Boston Opera. Ladies and gentlemen, Susanna Brooks.
While the storm clouds gathered far across the sea, let us pledge allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful to a land so fair as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam, God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, land
So the person smiling the biggest after that was Matthew. That's great. Susanna, I'm a lawyer. You didn't know this was coming, but I have a follow-up question. Do you sing around the house? Oh. So you don't sing a lullaby to them? Oh, yes. Isn't that great? Golly.
Can we tape it?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. That was great. Thank you very much. I want to point out that Phil Armstrong and Chuck Wilson have made special efforts to arrange for our special music so far this year. We won't have special music every week, but we're certainly off to a great start, and let's show them how grateful we are for their work. All right, a committee meeting reminder. There will be the Budget Committee meeting in room 233 as we finish up that work for the year. And now to our Who Was That contest. We have a great new entry from someone besides me, so I will officially pronounce that I am no longer the leader of the Who Was That contest. This entry is especially good because it dovetails with something else. A lot of our younger members have mentioned to me as I prepared for the year that they really wish they had an opportunity to get more mentoring from the great community and business leaders that are in this club. And so today I ask, who was that? And I answer, it is the most interesting man in the world. You skipped the video, Eric. Giving advice to all of us, especially our younger Rotarians.
Find out what it is in life that you don't do well, and then don't do that thing.
It seems so simple, but yet it's such perfect advice. So all of you young Rotarians, check that box. You have gotten some good advice from a great mentor this year. A few more things about this guy, widely believed to be the most interesting man in the world. Once he thought he was wrong, and that was the only time he was ever wrong. You can't always get what you want, but he can. And his business card says, "I'll call you." So, who in the club does he look like? We think he looks like Ron Beller. Alicia, do you have an explanation for this?
I spent a lot of time, Jeff, searching for a look-alike, and I came up with this guy, Dustin Diamond, and we'll actually do a follow-up later on as to what Dustin's up to these days, but he's got a great smile. Does anyone have a guess as to who he looks like? That's all I got, Jeff.
I've already got one for you next week. It's really good. Anyway, if you would like to enter, we won't consider that a serious entry. If you would like to enter the contest, let Alicia or me or the office know, and we'll be sure to handle your suggestion. We can take about any suggestion. And now Alicia has a few words and maybe even a little presentation for us about a sponsor of the club.
We do. Today's meeting sponsor is the Tulsa United Way. Jeff and I and our tech team has spent a lot of time trying to think of some good ways to really enhance your sponsorship dollars. So see Matt Moritor if you want some information on being a sponsor. And we've got a quick little United Way campaign video that I think you'll like.
My name is Emeka Naka, I'm 26. I was injured playing football for a semi-pro team here in Tulsa in 2009. I broke my neck making a tackle and injured my C5, C6 vertebrae, which left me paralyzed from my chest down. My life is no longer the same. I can't go back to my apartment. I can't live where I used to live. I've got to find a new house. I've got to find equipment. Ability is there for it. Ability resources helped me get a lot of the resources that I used. And I'm so thankful that United Way was able to step in and help me the way they did to get my Hoyer lift and get my chair and get to a better life. Going to the center helped me get back to my personality because I did not enjoy being out in front of people because I didn't want people looking at me. I didn't want people staring, pointing. When I started going to the center, it builds you up from the inside. Anybody with any kind of disability can go there and find something that they can use. And I think the equipment is what got me there, and the relationships are the thing that kept me there. Disability is not going to take away this ability, you know what I mean? I will graduate next May. Right after graduation, I plan to go into my master's program and get my master's degree, and then from there get my LPC to be a licensed professional counselor. I would do whatever would get me to impact the most people. When you get to United Way, you're investing in lives, you're changing lives. Don't do it because it's required, do it because you're inspired.
Thank you.
So that's a little preview of what we'll hear next week. I'm excited about having him. And so for our sponsors, be looking for that additional exposure that you'll get. A quick announcement, a word of caution for those who prefer to park on the street to come to these meetings instead of in the parking lots. We understand there is I was going to say something like Barney Fife, and I won't do it. There is a person with a badge who has been giving out tickets to people who are parking on Main Street, I think on the east side. Just keep an eye out for the no parking signs, and I've heard of one or two Rotarians who've gotten big tickets, so be aware of that when you come to the club. Okay, for a project announcement, we have Rob Berry, who will introduce our latest grant recipient. Rob, come on up.
How are you all doing today? I had the opportunity in April to go out to Little Lighthouse and was given a grand tour and got a chance to see some of the things that the Little Lighthouse was wanting to do with their grant request. And anyway, I am going to be presenting a check, which I left at the table, this is Rachel Mouton. She is the new Director of Development at Little Lighthouse, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about what the gift will be used for, but it's a gift grant for $6,500.
All right, move this down a little bit because I'm quite a bit shorter. Well, thank you guys so much for inviting me here, and thank you so much for continuously supporting the Little Lighthouse. With the funds, we purchased 6 PAL chairs, and the PAL chairs are positioning chairs that give support for our children who need additional trunk support and pelvic support and support with their legs and their arms to be able to sit comfortably. This allows them to participate in circle time and during lessons, and it's just a real benefit for our kiddos. We also purchased 2 rift and adapted toilets for the kids. Our kids are at the Little Lighthouse for over 5 hours every day, and as you can imagine, they need to go to the restroom. And because a lot of our kids do require that extra postural support to be able to sit down, these chairs give that. They have additional straps and supports for their body and harnesses that enable them to sit comfortably, go to the restroom, and be able to quickly come back to class and learn and participate in the activities. So thank you guys so very much for having me. I would love to give anybody a tour of the Little Lighthouse. I have business cards with me, so if you would like a tour and see what's happening, just come by and see me. Thanks.
All right, Sarge, we're ready for Alicia Herrera, our Sergeant at Arms.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. We have a couple slides today. Mr. Bob Spears gave us $200 for his birthday last Friday. So thank you very much. I know you're here somewhere. I got a call from my good friend Phil. Do not call him Mr. Viles. His name is Phil. He gave us $100 for his birthday. We really appreciate that. And he ended his email with "Never hide your light under a bushel" from his mom. I thought that was sweet. So thank you, Phil, very, very much. And our last find today was from Barbara Knoll. Tim, are you here by chance? Tim is here. Okay, we have a couple questions about this, Tim. So First of all, most importantly, Tim and his lovely wife celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary, so congratulations, Tim. And in addition to that, Tim came in first place in limited power saw bucking. I came in second. Tim, Jeff has a few questions about that.
What the heck is that?
A chainsaw competition in Broken Bow. Okay, well, it's pretty much what we thought it was. Thank you, Tim, very, very much. We have several Rotarians with birthdays this week, so happy birthday to you all. And just a quick reminder, I love numbers, round numbers, big round numbers, so feel free to send your money in big round numbers my way. Thank you all very much.
So don't worry, Coach Montgomery knows this is coming. Coach, we're pleased to have you today, and I told you before the meeting that we do like to have fun in our Rotary meetings, and as we thought about your visit here to Rotary, we had some discussions, and there were some of us, especially OU fans like me, who have come up with some questions for you. But we don't want to make you uncomfortable, and the Rotary Club is all about fairness and integrity, so we're going to have one of our most obnoxious OU fans approach the microphone, and we're going to pose the questions. But Coach, don't worry. These are questions that we have, but we're just simply too polite to really ask them.
Thank you. And first off, I'd like to welcome you and your lovely wife to Oklahoma. I'm sure it felt much better heading north across the Red River and to the promised land. And personally, I'm glad that your reign of terror at Baylor is now over, and hopefully it will pick up at TU. We came up with the help of Jimmy Trammell at the Tulsa World with 9 questions we would like to ask you but are too polite to ask. So, number 9. After beating OU the last 2 years by a combined score of 89 to 26, did Bob Stoops take you off his Christmas card list? Number 8, has anyone explained to you why a university in the center of the Great Plains has a hurricane as a mascot? Number 7, do chicks dig head coaches more than assistant coaches? Number 6, Baylor is a Baptist school. Tulsa isn't. Is it okay to dance in the locker room now? Number 5, any truth to the rumor Bob Stoops put in a good word for you as the TU coach so we wouldn't have to play against you at Baylor anymore? If you knew Riverside Drive, number 4, if you knew Riverside Drive was going to be closed for 2 years, would you have accepted the coaching job here? Number 3, you worked in oil fields. When you were younger, did you know we've already built a statue of you in Tulsa? Check out the big guy at the fairgrounds. Number 2, you were born on December 21st. Also born on December 21st, Samuel L. Jackson, Ray Romano, Kiefer Sutherland, and Jane Fonda. Are you sure you're in the right profession, or are you just acting? Now, from 1901 to 2010, OU defeated Baylor 20 times, losing none. The average score was 37 to 13. The last 4 years, with you as Baylor's offensive coordinator, OU beat Baylor once. The average score was 26 to 42. So the number 1 question is, how much of your TU salary is being paid by OU? Thank you.
It's my pleasure to introduce our Rotarian of the Day, Past President Phil Lakin. Past President Phil is the CEO of the Tulsa Community Foundation. He joined our club in March of 2000. He served as our president in 2011 and 2012. He's a Club Foundation Fellow and a Paul Harris Fellow. Please welcome our Rotarian of the Day, Past President Phil Lakin.
So I got wind that they were going to put something together. I had no idea what they were putting together, so I prepared a little defense of my own. And I wanted you to just watch this. This will just scroll. I wanted you to see some of the work of Baylor's past offensive coordinator up on the screen. He's not one of the players on the field. Our players are in white and green. These other players that are in crimson and cream, just coincidentally, are getting creamed. It may look like the same play over and over and over again, but the white and green team is actually marching down the field. I think we went 75 yards in 10 plays in 2 minutes and 50 seconds. It was exactly 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So if you like what you see up here, and I don't mean watching OU get beat, although it's a lot of fun. I mean watching a super fast, prolific offense, then you're going to love what's getting ready to happen in Tulsa, Oklahoma. As you watch, let me introduce to you the winningest coach in college football and the only coach not to have any losses for sure. Philip Montgomery comes to TU from the greatest university on the planet. You knew I was going to have to say it, right? Baylor University. I hated to see him leave my alma mater for sure, but if anyone was going to get him, I'm so grateful that it's our team in Tulsa that bears our name. This team says Tulsa on it. Thank God LSU didn't get him. Philip led Baylor's potent offense as OC, quarterback, and running back coach, and since 2013, its offensive coordinator. Little old Baylor's offense was ranked number 1 in the country in 2013 and 2014. That's 619 and 581 yards per game. It was second in 2012 and 2011. Again, if you want to watch an offense perform, buy season tickets today, and you'll see season ticket opportunities on the way out the door.
There's a card outside, just so you know.
Lots of opportunities, and it's cheap, and it's great entertainment. Our coach started in Eastland, Texas. He's a 4-year letterman from Tarleton State. He coached at high schools in Texas before leaving and coaching with Art Briles at Houston, then at Baylor. 4 of the nation's best quarterbacks were trained by and ran plays for him. Texans and Rams quarterback Case Keenum, Heisman Trophy winner RG3, All-American Nick Florence, and Big 12 Player of the Year last year, and New York Jets quarterback Bryce Petty. Philip has been named OC of the Year, Quarterback Coach of the Year, and was a finalist for the Broyles Award. This doesn't get old. What happened to the... We could have just played it the whole time. It's okay. I'm just kidding with you, Aaron. Most importantly to me, he's an outstanding person, husband, and father. He'll become an integral part of our community. I know that he will add value to Tulsa in so many ways. People ask him how long he's going to stay at TU. We've asked a lot of coaches that. I think it's up to us to give him many reasons to stay at Tulsa. And if we give him those reasons, he'll stay for as long as he possibly can. You've seen his performance on the screen, and you've heard about his past successes from me. Let's now hear from the man himself. Please help me welcome Tulsa's new head coach, Philip Montgomery.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate the opportunity to come down and visit with you today at lunch. First of all, I want to introduce my wife. She actually came with me today. Ashley, will you please stand up? Ashley Montgomery, we've been married 20 years now. Especially after the first or whatever number question that was, I did not want to miss that by not introducing my wife. And no, honey, they do not. We have 2 beautiful kids at the house. My son just turned 17. My daughter will turn 15 at the end of August. Both moved up here in February and been here ever since, and they've really adapted well. It's gone well. Anytime you move your kids when they're in high school, it's always a difficult type of move. But the city, the school that they're at, the whole environment of it all has been a great transition for them, and they're really enjoying our new living establishments here, and so we're excited to be here. I've brought my whole staff with me, as you can see through all the blue at the front of the tables, and I'm going to bring those guys and introduce them, and they're going to come up here and stand so you'll have a chance to kind of put names and faces together. So as you see those guys out in the community, and they'll be out there, or you see them on the sidelines, or you see them on TV, you have a chance to kind of put a name with a face and get to know them a little bit better. hopefully you will be at a lot of games. Like he said, the tickets are available. You can sign up outside. Thank you very much. And would love to have you at all of our games. The one thing that I love about Tulsa, it's very similar. I grew up in a very small town. I'm used to people being, you walk down the street, everybody knows you, you know them. They know what happened last night, so do you, good or bad. And so we're all this tight community. Well, TU is the same way, very tight community. We've got a great stadium that if we fill, which I know we will, it could be an intimidating factor and a huge factor for us when it comes time to win, when we start winning games. So we want you to be out. We want you to be there. We want you to be loud. We're going to put an exciting brand of football on the field for you, give you something to cheer about, something to jump out of your seat about, both offensively and defensively, and keep you entertained as we go through this process. And at the end of that time, when you look up at the scoreboard, you'll see W's at the end. And that's the plan. That's what we're going to do. Our coaches are committed to that. They have a passion for it. Our players are on board. We had a great spring. They're working hard right now in the summer, and I'll get into that in a minute. But our guys have done an exceptional job, and we are so excited about the upcoming season, all the things that brings, and the type of entertainment that we're going to provide for you. But at the end of the day, it's about getting wins for our university and putting our university and our brand back on the map, putting Tulsa back on the map and bringing exciting things to it. And so we're excited about that. I know my coaching staff is. And so I'll quickly try to go through all of these guys and still have a chance to kind of answer some questions at the end and talk a little bit about more what we're doing. We'll start with Coach Bill Young. Everybody knows Coach. He's been around here forever, actually coached here before. Come on up, Coach. Don't be shy. Yes, sir. You know, coached at several places all across the country, everywhere from the West Coast to the East Coast in the NFL. I mean, it's an honor to have him. He's going to be coaching our D-line, also our co-defensive coordinator, a guy that just loves kids and loves the game of football. He brings that every day. I mean, there's times I walk out of his office and I know he just got a little jab in on me and I didn't even realize it till I got halfway down the hall. And then I'll come back and I said, good one, and then I just return and keep going. So excited to have Coach Young with me. Brian Norwood, our other co-defensive coordinator, comes with me from Baylor. Did a great job there. Was at Penn State, Texas Tech. Had a great playing career. Really grew up more in Hawaii than anywhere else. I think, you know, depending upon who he's talking to, Hawaii's home one day. You know, up in the Northeast is home one day. So, but this is a man that has a great family. He's got kids that have done unbelievable. All of them have graduated now except for one. He's got one playing professional basketball, two playing professional football. His daughter is a tremendous dancer that has graduated with that degree. And then his son is in college right now, and just a great family man, a great husband. I don't know that you can find a better person than that guy standing right there, so it's great to have him on my staff. Joseph Gillespie, Joe and I go back a long way. We coached in high school together, was the head coach at Stephenville, won 4 state championships there. He's coaching our linebackers. He's the whole family, and I think half the town of Stephenville are now living in his house. You know, he had his son this morning. He's got a son going into the 4th grade. He's got one that just graduated that's going to play ball at Tarleton. His daughter will graduate early from high school, which she will graduate in December. And then hopefully, I think she will be joining us here if we can keep working on that. And then he's got a son that's a 4th grader. They were out this morning at 7 a.m. on the field working offensive and defensive drills, padded up, helmet on, tackling dummy out, had him working. But just a great man, great friend, great coach. Excited to have him on the staff. So he's coaching our linebackers. Jamal Ashley. Ashley was recruited by Coach Young, then played for him, coached with him, now coaching with him again, also coaching our D-line. The thing that I told Jamal, I said, at the end of this next recruiting class, because we had to build our class in about a 10-day period and get them all signed and get them all here. So I said, you got 1 year to find somebody bigger than you to step off the bus, so you are not the biggest guy on the bus. I mean, that guy could ski, no skis needed if he needed to. But tremendous guy, got a little daughter that is just a ball of energy, and excited to have Jamal with us. Dan, go ahead, Dan. I'm going to knock you out now. Dan, let's give Dan a hand, everybody. You know, Dan played here. Everybody knows Dan's background. You know, when I got here, Dan and I sat down and we visited. Dan is in charge of our player development, but more than that, he is a mentor to every one of our student athletes. He does a great job of getting guys in line, keeping them on track, being a sounding board for those guys to be able to come in and give advice to a guy that has been at the top of the hill, you know, had the injury and had the accident, seen what you got to pull yourself up from, and is just a great guy to keep in our midst and has done a great job with our student athletes, and I'm honored that he's still a part of our staff here. Aaron Fletcher, trying to get all these defensive guys up here. Fletch is coaching our corners. Fletch's background is very similar to mine and Joseph's and several others on our staff. All of us have had some experience in the high school ranks and worked our ways kind of up back through those ranks, and he's a guy that we've watched, and he's done a great job of coaching all throughout that. We'll do a great job recruiting the Metroplex and been involved in that. But he's a great technicianal coach as far as coaching our corners, and if you've watched us at all during spring, he has made a tremendous difference in what our corners are doing right now. He's got two wonderful kids at home and his wife. They finally got up here. They didn't get moved until July, and I know that's been a burden on him, but excited that they're all finally here with him and we can get back to work and just everything kind of calm down. So excited to have Aaron on our staff. Our defensive quality control, Luke. Luke was on the staff previous. He's a guy that continued to worked his butt off, and is going to be a great asset to what we're doing. He's going to be coaching our star, which is an outside linebacker type spot for us, but has some pass responsibilities, and we'll get into all of those. But excited to have Luke here with us as well. Before I go any further, Coach O. Coach O is a guy that can, if you need anything broken down, and I don't care if it's from math to football to your garden, it doesn't matter. This guy's got a notebook full of the information that you need. Coach has been around for a little bit. I'll say that. I don't want to say a long time, Coach. Coach has been around a little bit. He's coached in the NFL. He's been a director of recruiting and scouting. I mean, you think of any job, this guy's done it. He's just a great guy to be around. I don't know. There's only a handful of times that he has not been in the building, and I leave pretty late, and that guy is always there. I mean, always there. I mean, just he loves his job, he loves the game, and he loves kids. So excited to have Coach with us. Offensively, Sterling Gilbert is our co-offensive coordinator. Sterling and I have known each other. He actually was one of our GAs at the University of Houston, and then went back to the high school ranks and then worked his way back through it, was the offensive coordinator at Eastern Illinois, and then was at Bowling Green, led the conference in both of those. Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy's name that you've heard a bunch of here lately because of what's going on with the Patriots. Sterling's the guy that actually coached him. And so excited to have Sterling with us and what he's bringing to the table. Matt Maddox actually played for myself at the University of Houston. Has coached all the ranks all the way through, been involved in a lot of the JCs, was also at Bowling Green. He's our offensive line coach and co-offensive coordinator. I'm going to tell this story on Mac just because I love the story. When we first got to Houston, he was a tight end. And after about a week or two of being there, we brought him in and we said, Matt, is it easier for you to lose weight or to put weight on? Because he was right there on the bubble. And Matt's got a great, as you get to know Matt, he's got a great personality, a great sense of humor. And he said, Coach, are you kidding? Why are you even asking me that question? And then he moved from tight end to right tackle and was an all-conference right tackle. But got great feet and great skills. And he can play quarterback, just ask him if you need him to do any of that. So Matt's got two wonderful little girls at the house, and his wife, they've moved out to Owasso, and excited to have them. Cal Lowry. Cal is coaching our wide receivers, was with us at Baylor, does a tremendous job, played at Penn State, played in the league for 4 or 5 years, was actually a safety. We converted him over to the offensive side of the football. He's still got some bad tendencies about him on the defensive side, but we're trying to get those out of him. Recently engaged, and excited to have him with us. Justin Hill. Justin played at Rice. Has been involved with us at Baylor as well, and went on the strength side of it, was a running back coming out of high school. Obviously, you can see how he looks. They had a couple of linebackers get hurt at Rice, and then all of a sudden they switched him over to linebacker, and he played there to finish up his career. But again, another recently engaged. I guess I give him a job to get engaged. I don't know. I know their fiancés like me a lot, but excited to have Justin here with us. His fiancée is here. She's actually working in the medical field, and Cal's actually is working for us. She's our nutritionist, which she does an outstanding job. And then Mike Blesh, I actually recruited Mike out of high school, played for us at the University of Houston, and then coached, then went in the high school ranks, went back and was the offensive quality control at Houston last year, and then I stole him and he came back with us. He and his wife and young son just recently moved, and they finally took a vacation, hadn't had any time away, haven't left the baby. The first time they leave the baby, they're 4 hours down the road, and he finally takes his first step. And his mother-in-law sends a photo of it, and I think the vacation was kind of at a halt at that point. Mama was ready to turn around and come back. But there's lots of steps going on now. I think I saw a video the other day of him dancing and smiling. It looked just like Mike. I don't know what was going on. But had some moves. I'll give you that, Mike. Had some moves. Clint's been around here. Clint played here. Clint is our high school relations, does a great job, really kind of does all of our camp stuff, kind of gets all those things organized, all of our recruiting weekends, takes care of so many different jobs. I can't list them all, but excited that Clint has stayed around. Ravi just has been working for free for 2 years because he has a goal of what he wanted and got hired when I got here. And so just a guy that he's like a dog on a bone. You give him a job, it's done. I don't have to worry about it. I can lay my head on the pillow at night and not have to think twice about it. And excited to have him. His fiance, not yet, sorry. She's an attorney here in town, and we'll just leave it at that before I get in any more trouble than that. DJ is our video coordinator. DJ does a great job. I mean, when we first got here, we're putting our guys through workouts. We got 5:30 a.m. workouts, and we're getting our guys up, getting them breakfast, working them out, making sure they're up going to class. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. And DJ, the only video guy I've ever seen, was up every morning videoing all of those workouts. One day I looked at him, I said, "What are you doing? You have lost your mind." So a tremendously hard worker, got a great family, great girls, and glad he's still here with us. And last but not least, Kyle Grooms is our football of operations. So anytime you need something, that's really the guy. Him and Ravi, you need to call that guy. He takes care of everything under the sun, played here, tremendous worker, and excited that he has stayed around and been part of our staff. So this is my staff right here. Let's give them a hand, please. All right, y'all can go sit down. Is that good? You got your picture? Get your GQ look on. I don't want to go any further without mentioning Kevin Buck is here. I'm sorry, Kevin, I know you don't like that, but I appreciate him being here. Kevin and I work on the same campus. We don't get to see each other because we're both pretty busy, but it was great to see him, and I appreciate him coming out and supporting us today, myself and our staff. Lisa is here. You can stand up and say hi. She actually does a lot of the promotions for games and things that you see going on. They will be actually out there at the booth out there, so if you need season tickets, she's the lady you can talk to, and she'll get you all signed up. And if you can't find her, trust me, I'll sign you up just to get you on there. Talking about our players, you know, as we came in and looking at the challenge that's ahead of us, you know, I walked in the first meeting with our players and having our staff around us, and had a chance to really sit down and visit with those guys. And I think the number one thing that I wanted to make sure that they understood was they were going to get a fresh start. They were going to get a new beginning. It didn't matter what happened yesterday. It didn't matter what happened last year. It didn't matter what happened last week. But at this point right now, you've got a fresh start. You can be anybody that you want to be. I'm not going to go back and look at tape. I'm not going to go back and look at all the mistakes you made prior to this. You've got a chance to make a name for yourself. I don't know you, you don't know me, and we're going to step on this field together, and we're going to figure it out. We had some guys that made some tremendous moves throughout the spring, guys that understand that competition is all about making each other better. We have not announced a starting quarterback yet because I want those guys to feel the pressure of what it takes to get that job, to earn that job. Nothing's given to you in this world, and we want to make sure that our guys are working and fighting every day to be the best that they can be, not just on our campus, not just in our conference, but the best people in the nation. That's what we want to be at the end of our time. We've got a plan, we've got a vision of what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, and we're going to get that plan out and make sure that the guys that we're recruiting are going to represent you as the city of Tulsa, us as the university, and putting a product on the field that, number one, is going to keep you entertained, going to keep you excited, but are going to bring some stuff to our university and to our city, some excitement, get people talking, not just in the state of Oklahoma, but around the country. Guys took that challenge, and they've really accepted it. We went through spring ball. We started off going through our workout part of it. I've been telling them, hey, this is what spring ball is going to be like. We're going to be up pace. We're going to snap the football. You're going to get tired. You need to be running. You need to be doing extra to get yourself ready. We had the first day of practice. Our first team session we actually did versus air. It was 22 minutes long, I believe, and we snapped it 84 times, okay? That was the first one. The second one, they thought we might slow down a little bit, and we snapped it 81 times. And so we did slow down. It was 3 plays, and we were upset about that. But we got over it, and they thought, well, that's just against air. Well, then the defense got out there. Well, one of the great things about that is Coach Norwood and I, we've gone against each other now for a long time in practice, and he understood what practice was really going to be. And I told Coach Young what it was going to be like, and so did Coach Norwood. But when we walked off the field, Coach Young, there was one play in there where he's trying to substitute some players in. I think a ball flew over his head and all the players. He started in, they started out, they went back in. We got a good chuckle out of it as we watched it on tape. But when we went team, we got 74 plays in that same amount of time. We are going to play up-tempo, and we are going to play fast. At the end of those first 3 practices, guys came up to all of us as coaches and said, I didn't understand the level of commitment and the level of the conditioning that I had to be in to be ready for what we're going to do. At the end of spring ball, we started getting there. We started feeling it, and we started working through that. But that was able to take the experience they had in spring ball and work it into what we had to do this summer. This summer, they have worked extremely hard, and they're in the best physical condition they've ever been in their lives. We still got 3 more weeks of that to prepare for, and then we got 29 practice dates before our first game. They're going to be there. We will be the best conditioned football team when we step on the field, and we will wear people out because of that. That is what we will do. If you got a chance to come to the spring practices, our practices were open. Even in the fall, many of our practices will be open. We'd love for you to come out and watch, see what's going on. You can sit up there in the stands if you can find some shade, because I haven't found it yet. But if you can find some, there's a goal post, maybe bring an umbrella. I don't know. If if you've got young kids, stand them up behind you, whatever you got to do. But come out to practice, see what's going on. We want you to be involved. We want you to see what's going on. But spring ball, if you're at the spring game, you got a glimpse of some things. We did some great things defensively. We got some 3 and outs. We got drives going that got shut down in the red zone. We did the things that we wanted to do from an execution standpoint. We're going to be electric on that side. We've got to be aggressive with the personnel that we have. We have to be aggressive. We have to take some chances, and we got to be very intent on what our assignments are going to be. Offensively, you got a chance to see us throw the football down the field. I can promise you that if you come to games, you will see us throw it down the field. We're not going to back away from that. We've got some tremendous threats on the outside. We're going to take some shots. If we don't hit them, fine, we'll line up and do it again. But I learned from a great man that I coached for a long time, and it seems pretty simple. It's kind of like, the interesting man. You got to want to score. And if that makes sense, you got to want to score. So if you're going to sit back and say, oh, well, I think I can get 3 yards, I don't care if I can get 3 yards. I want to get 63 yards. And so we're going to push the envelope of how we play and what we do to make sure that we are giving our guys their best opportunity to be successful. I'll talk about those guys on both sides of the ball, and I don't know how much time I've got, and we'll kind of work through it. I want to give 5 minutes. See, I'm rolling now. I'll give some time here at the end and try to give you a chance to ask some questions. Our receiving core, I think, is got a chance to be really special. We got Kieris Garrett, who's 6'4". I can't not believe a guy that looks like he is so long and lean, but is very strong. He's going to be able to stretch the field. I think he's got a tremendous, tremendous year ahead of him. Kevin Lucas is another guy that can be really explosive in what we're going to do. He was a 1,000-yard receiver last year. Come watch those two guys play. We're going to have a bunch of different backs in there. We've shuffled the offensive line around. Our quarterbacks are having to work through it, but if you did come out to any of our spring practices, people have told me they don't look like the same people. We've broken them down, Coach Gilbert and I have, and tried to teach them the fundamentals of what they got to do. It's a tremendous group of guys that I think are really, really passionate about what's going. Defensively, you got Derek Alexander, Tulsa's own Derek Alexander. You got Derek Lujan, whose dad's been a coach in this state for forever. Jeremy Smith, right around this area, that I think is going to have an outstanding year. He's a guy that is kind of under the radar, but he's playing our weak side end, going to be dropping into coverage, bringing him off the edge, bringing him through the middle, doing some different things with him. Just a freak of an athlete type guy. We've moved all of our linebackers around a little bit. Trent Martin is still in the middle, but you may have Patera Wilson in there, who is just a freak. Let me say that, freak. Craig Suits, who was our starting star, has now moved into the Willie Backers position. We've taken Lynn Scott, that's playing our star. The secondary's all changed. One of the guys that I think I've probably had the best spring of all is Kerwin. Kerwin Thomas, who is starting at our corner, is just kind of, he saw the light. Between Coach Norwood and Coach Fletch, I mean, they've done a great job with him. He's going to have to be that guy for us. Those guys are competing. They're flying around. I'm excited to get on the field with them. You know, everybody says, hey, it's almost here. Are you nervous? I'm not nervous. I'm ready. I'm ready to get on the field and see our guys and go back to work with them and put our hands on them and let's get on this train and let's roll. And that's the part that's exciting about it. That's the part we as coaches, we love. You love the challenge each and every Saturday. This is probably one of the only professions in America that you put your resume out on the field every week. And everybody picks it apart, and that's fine. But there's nothing like the competition of stepping out there on the field and feeling that adrenaline rush. That's a high you can't buy, and we live on it each and every week. My wife does too, but it's a little bit different, and she gripes at me. But we are so excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to come speak. I appreciate these guys coming down with me and you getting a chance to meet them. And does anybody have any questions before I run out of time? Because that's about as fast as I can possibly talk, because I talk slow. Yes, sir. Which games this fall are you think going to be the most challenging? All of them. I mean, the most important game is the one right in front of us, the Florida Atlantic game. We got a 2:30 kickoff. Lisa doesn't even know this yet. I don't know that anybody else does. We're probably going to call that a whiteout game. We're going to wear all white. I want the fans to come and wear white shirts. It's at 2:30, so let's put the opponents in a dark jersey and make them feel the heat of Oklahoma. And let's try to make the whole stadium white. Whatever advantages we can take, we're going to take them. I can promise you that. But whatever game's in front of me, I mean, Florida Atlantic, when that one's over, the next one's going to be. I mean, my wife continues to remind me after wins and losses, either way, you know, at least try to enjoy the win for 2 hours before you start tearing it apart. And so then we go back in the film room, figure out what we did right, what we did wrong, and we get ready for the next one and get it done. So anybody else? Questions? Yes, sir. He has. He really has. I mean, Dane honestly took the majority of the reps in the spring at the ones. It was an open competition. The way it kind of fell, he got the majority of those. The one thing that I've learned about Dane wants to be good. And Dane is very coachable. And he is very competitive. I mean, yesterday they were pushing 100-pound sleds. Well, I guess it's probably about 120-pound sleds for about 20 yards. They actually did 20 reps of that with very few time in between, and it's a competition deal. Dane got second because he was going with all the linebackers and all the other guys. And at about rep 10, I kept saying, Dane, are you ever going to win one? Are you ever going to win? Just because it is killing him. I mean, He's cut some of that hair, but he can't pull much of it out because he's going to lose it. But, I mean, it's killing him. And at the end, he came up to me, just walked by, and he said, Coach, I tried. I tried as hard as I could to win one for you. That's the type of guy you need leading your football team. If the building's on fire, he's jumping out, saving everybody. You know, he's running back in the building, grabbing a kid and running back out. He's that type of guy. So we're probably leaning that way, but I'm not going to give it to him until it's time to. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
The national issue with players hitting women.
Mm.
Do you address that with your players?
You know, we talk about those things, and we've got some things kind of laid out that we build our program on, and you know, the number one thing on that is be respectful to everyone. We talk about that with our players, you know, with social media and all the things that you can do wrong out there now. We are building our program and talking to our guys and making sure that, again, when they leave our program, whether they go to the NFL, whether we win, you know, 12 or 13 ball games, whatever it's going to be a year, we want them to leave our program and be a successful part of community. Be a viable part. Make a difference in your community. We got to do more than coach X's and O's. We've got to help kids grow, mature, and be successful in whatever facet of life they're going to be. Be good husbands, be good fathers, and whatever your calling is, find that and be passionate about it. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Well, Kevin and I have kind of talked about this, and I've talked with Derek. I mean, when it came out, I threw a fit. We got 3 new head coaches in this league, and we're the ones that took the brunt of that punishment. We got the toughest schedule in the conference. All of our crossover games are either with the 2 teams that were tied for the conference championship last year, or they were bowl teams. In addition to that, you got Florida Atlantic, New Mexico, Oklahoma at Oklahoma, and Louisiana Monroe. So we've got a tough road. We've got 1 bye week, and then I think we've got 9 straight games in a row. And I don't know that we have back-to-back home games, but is it 1, Kyle, or do we even have it? So we've got a tough road. We've got a tough road. The thing I love about it, that's just another challenge. I don't care who it is. It's week by week. We're going to step up, prepare, and we're going to get after whoever it is. No reason to make excuses now. Let's play. Anybody else? Am I good? Hey, thank y'all so much. Look forward to meeting you.
Coach Montgomery, thank you so much. What a great representative of the city and of the university. And all the coaches who stood up there and we got to meet, thank you, fellas, and good luck. This year we'll all be pulling for you. Kevin, thank you. Ashley, thanks for coming. It was a great program. Our book, Recognizing Today's Program, will be given to Celia Clinton, our partner in Education School. It's entitled Football's Greatest Stars. I told Coach that's probably going to be the most frequently checked out book in the whole library, if I know kids. Thanks to our volunteers today, Mark and Regina. Thanks for Pedro for scanning the badges. You all are great, and we couldn't do this without you. That is all we have. We are adjourned.